Have you ever dreamed about becoming world chess champion? And have you ever dreamed about what that glorious game would look like? Well, for Ding Liren, this dream was a reality. Little did he know the grueling and unlikely journey that it would take. This is the game that defied all odds.
He sits up in his chair, but he knows this might be the last few moves of his world
It's over.
championship.
Ding Liren is the world chess champion.
Is he playing for a win? Is Ding Liren trying to win this game?
Beautiful move here by Alireza. On the 8th move itself, Ding Liren has lost a piece.
He's under a
There
minute.
is something.
Why is he? What is he
He's
doing?
under a minute.
What
He's
is he
thinking.
doing?
There's no increment. No
Oh my
way.
gosh!
Finally
He played.
gonna move.
Oh my! No, he didn't make it. He didn't. He reached out, Daniel, and finally we got
45
him.
seconds.
He goes rook d2.
March 30th, 2022, Grandmaster Sergei Karyakin gets banned for 6 months. Karyakin's ban resulted in him being unable to play in the candidates tournament, leaving an open spot. No one could have imagined that the one who would eventually take that spot would be Ding Liren. To be able to qualify for the candidates, you must play at least 30 rated games in the past year. Due to problems with his visa, he was unable to travel and played 4 out of 30 games. He also couldn't play in tournaments that could help him qualify, such as the Grand Prix, the World Cup, or the Grand Swiss. Those spots were taken by Duda, Firouzja, Hikaru Nakamura, and Report. Nepomniachtchi had already qualified by being the runner-up in the World Championship the past year, and Radjabov had been nominated by FIDE. Don't ask me how that's fair. The only spot remaining that should have been Karyakin's spot was to be the highest rated player in the world, excluding Norwegians and players that already qualified. As of March 2022, players that could take the 8th and final spot in the candidates were Levon Aronian with an impressive rating of 2,785, Wesley So with a rating of 2,778, Anish Giri with a rating of 2,772, and finally, our beloved Ding Liren with a monstrous rating of 2,799. So why couldn't he qualify even though he had the highest rating? Well, remember when I told you he had only played 4 rated games in the past year? Everyone else had already met the minimum requirement of 30 rated games, and the deadline for qualification was rapidly approaching. Ding had to play 26 games in less than 1 month. That might not sound like a lot, but mind you, every game Ding has to play can last, on average, 4 to 5 hours. He also had to win the majority of them to not lose too much rating, and he had to find tournaments to compete in the first place, but there were none. The Chinese Chess Federation arranged not 1, not 2, but 3 last-minute tournaments with hundreds of grandmasters each. In an act of desperation, he somehow attended all of them, and in a measly 29 days, Ding played 26 games. He lost none of them. Ding Liren had miraculously made it to the candidates tournament, the most prestigious tournament in all of chess that is needed to qualify to play world champion Magnus Carlsen and contend for the crown. The candidates is in a double round robin format, and only the winner of the entire tournament would get to play Magnus, while the runner-ups get nothing. Let's take a look at the games. Ding Liren's first game in the candidates was against Ian Nepomniachtchi. He starts out with c4, the English opening, which he plays basically every day even though he's Chinese, and he chooses a more flexible and classical line. Jan responds with the c6 d5 idea, creating a very nice connect 4 in the center. So Jan decides to take on d5 with his queen, which isn't usually what coaches tell you to do, but also Jan coaches your coaches, so shut up. Ding retreats his knight to c2, which is a perfectly fine square by the way, and the queen gets attacked and moves to e5, and a couple moves later both players castle. And now this is kind of my least favorite kind of position, because it's a super dry middle game. But basically, White's main ideas are to expand on the queen side with a3, b4, and activate this bishop to b2 probably, and Black is trying to activate this knight, this bishop, and maybe just try to maneuver his pieces to better squares. So a3, b4 gets played, and this horse here kinda just disrespects Ding by chilling on g4, contesting this knight on e3, but also eyeing white's king, with potentially some future ideas like this. The bishop comes to b2, and Jan swings his queen over to h5, and here, I bet Jan really hoped that Ding would just not see this threat and blunder mate for an easy dub, but Ding's brain is fully developed, unlike yours, and plays h4, which is actually an inaccuracy, because it kinda destabilizes his king. Instead, he should have just taken this knight and gotten rid of an attacker. The bishop comes over to this long diagonal as the queen moves to c2. They trade bishops and reposition their knights to more active squares, and here, Jan plays a very nice move. Rook e6, a rook lift, trying to bring the rook and just bomb white's house on the g or h file while also developing the attack. I'm pretty sure Ding started to get kinda scared here. I definitely would. More pieces come in, and here, Stockfish really wanted Jan to play g5, 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 play g5, go, play g5! But Jan is kinda scared of rushing things, so he plays h6, preparing g5. And here, Stockfish wants Jan to play g5, 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 g5. But he was kinda scared of this rook sack idea, giving Ding some counterplay in the center. And so he doubles his rook with rook ae8. Here, Ding gets devious, king h2. And now, if Jan plays g5, rook h1 takes king g1. Call an ambulance, but not for me. And so Jan doesn't want to pay for the ambulance, so he plays bishop g4. Knight a5 gets played, attacking the pawn on b7, but Jan first forces the king back to defend this pawn, and then Stockfish finally gets his wish. g5! Ding gets greedy and grabs this pawn, but it was his biggest mistake. Jan breaks down Ding's front door and sacks an entire rook with check. And despite his best effort, Ding still couldn't prevent mate. The candidates was off to a bad start. It seemed as if he was outmatched, someone who just happened to get lucky and get into the candidates, but now is no match for any of the monsters of the tournament. Ding Liren is unrelenting. Time flew by. It was the 14th game of the candidates, and Ding had gotten a grip after suffering a loss against Jan in the first round, by never losing up until his 12th game against Timur Radjabov. He actually won 3 in a row against Dura Jan Kristjov, Richard Report, and Fabiano Caruana in the 9th, 10th, and 11th rounds. But he also drew 8 times. After 13 grueling rounds, he was in 3rd place with 7 points, right behind Hikaru in 2nd with 7.5 points, but also miles behind Jan with 9 points. Ding Liren was paired against Hikaru Nakamura, but the most either player could get from this round was a single point, and Jan already had 9 points. Even if Ding somehow won, he would still only have 8 points. Little did he know that this would be the most decisive game of the candidates. And they're off. Ding starts the game off with d4, Hikaru plays knight f6, and they transpose into a queen's gambit declined. And here, many people, including myself, expected Ding to play the Catalan like he has done so many times in the past. But no, he decides to play knight c3, and the players quickly go into the Tarrasch, a completely symmetrical and equal position, but shockingly enough, Hikaru has never played this before in top-level classical chess. You can check the databases, he has never had this position before, and so he most likely prepared this just for this tournament, or even this very game. He takes on c4, Ding takes on c5, and both bishops come out. And even here, it's still almost a completely symmetrical position. The pawn structure, the knights, and the major pieces, with only a slight deviation being in the bishops. They castle, bring their bishops to the long diagonal, and they finally trade their first pair of pieces in the center. f5, kicking away the bishop and preventing any weird ideas like knight e5. The bishop retreats all the way back to b1 with the plan to move to a2 and exploit this weakness on e6. The queens come off, and Hikaru, absolute Giga Chad moment, defends this pawn on e6 with his king! And now Ding didn't really know what to do, so he plays h4, and Hikaru didn't really know what to do either, so he plays h6. Rook c1, avoiding this trade of rooks, keeping pieces on the board. Bishop d6, potentially preparing e5 in the future, and now Ding starts to double his rooks. And as soon as Black's knight leaves the center, White's knight jumps into the center, occupying more space. They trade light squared bishops, and here, Ding plays kind of a weird move in response to this attack. h5. I guess the idea is to stop Hikaru from putting anything on g6 or going g5, but now this pawn may be a weakness in the future, and there's nothing wrong with simply g3. Hikaru offers a trade of bishops, and Ding says no, but then offers a trade of bishops on his own terms. Here, Hikaru says no and plays e5, getting some space in the center. And here, I like Ding's idea. He tries to maneuver his rooks over to the open d file, since this bishop here has completely closed off the c file. So rook d2 gets played, and now Hikaru opens up the d file, not letting Ding double so easily. Ding trades, and now recaptures the d file. Knight f6 attacks Ding's pawn, and bishop d6 attacks Hikaru's pawn. So Hikaru defends his pawn, and now he goes after this pawn on f2. Ding plays an in-between move, check, and then plays g3, and this was the turning point of the game, because Hikaru missed a very important move. What he should have played was rook d8, contesting Ding's rook on the open file, and being able to recapture with the attacked bishop if Ding decides to trade. Instead, he plays bishop g5, which is just way too passive and allows Ding's rook to be ideally placed and be a bother in Hikaru's position. And here, Hikaru actually moves the bishop for a third time in a row. And now Ding is coming in with ideas to just bully Hikaru's pawns, and Hikaru actually sacrifices a pawn, but surprisingly, Ding refuses and plays e4, which is a mistake because he allows f3, shutting down White's king. And if you go after it, the knight will defend it, and if you go after the knight, then rook c8, and you can't take because of mate. But Hikaru misses it and plays bishop f6. More pieces come in, and now f3 gets played. But it's too late. The king is already on g3 and is coming down this side of the board. Ding offers a trade of bishops, and Hikaru says no. Takes on f3, takes on a3, and now Ding anchors in this bishop to not only blockade Hikaru's queenside pawns, but also prepare his own march on the king side. He connects his e and f pawns, then goes after this pawn on a6, and Hikaru sacrifices it. Ding brings his rook, repeats the position twice, but then centralizes his knight, and a couple moves later, Hikaru resigned. Because this bishop is simply trapped. Ding Liren just secured the second place finish in the candidates tournament. But this didn't actually mean anything significant, right? Because only the winner of the candidates would play Magnus, and Ding only got second place. Well, there's this rumor going around that began circulating as early as December of 2021 and was confirmed in July of 2022.
So I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering about the World Championship recently. After the conclusion, I did agree to meet with Dvorkovich and Sutovsky from FIDE to talk a little bit. But the gist of it was that I was there to tell them that I would not defend my title in the next World Championship match.
Magnus Carlsen, as of about 30-40 minutes ago, has made it official to his sources, and Chess24 tweeted about it, that he is relinquishing the World Championship title and has no interest in defending it.
Now that Magnus has stepped down, who would play against Ian Nepomniachtchi for the title of World Champion? You guessed it, that person would be Ding Liren. The World Championship was in a best of 14 classical games with alternating colors. A score of 7.5 would win you the title. If the score was the same after those games, it would go into a match consisting of 4 rapid games as a tiebreaker. Here, a score of 2.5 would win the championship. If the score was tied again, then the match would descend into 2 5+3 blitz matches. A score of 1.5 would secure the win. And finally, if it was still drawn after all these tiebreakers, then a single 3+2 blitz game would be played to decide the world champion. A tie of 7-7. The classical portion was an absolute whirlwind of joy, sorrow, triumph, and defeat. Covering all of them would take a lifetime. So I won't. It was April 30th. Ian Nepomniachtchi and Ding Liren were playing the final rapid game. The 3 previous ones had ended in dead draws, and this one was looking the same, with the possibility of a repetition on the board. But Ding Liren didn't come here to make a draw.
We are expecting a repetition at this point with Ding falling back with the king to g8. Rook g6 is not a move that you consider here, right? It's the only move that I feel with black keeps the game going, but it looks like more like a losing move than a winning attempt.
If rook g6 is not better for white, I'd be shocked. But it's not definitely... Oh my god.
Oh!
What?
Is he playing for a win? Is Ding Liren trying to win this game? I keep using this Hemingway expression. You know, he said, courage is grace under pressure. He's courageous, and queen f5 gives black the upper hand, apparently.
On the board, white's got to go h4,
Wait.
h5, right? That's the plan. Black stops it with h5. That move, rook g6. Mavi, we were thinking that's not even a possibility. And such a brave decision, and it's paying off. Ding Liren, with that eval bar, it shows that he's clearly better here.
But I like this,
Queen
because if queen c4, there's rook c6 now. The queen and rook along the 6th rank helps to push the pawn. Good
You
draw.
just try to like hold it move by move. Yeah, queen e4, queen c4. Maybe king goes to h2, not to allow queen e4 check.
And Jan is the one down to 20 seconds and counting down. Goes king g2, which keeps it at -3.
He was avoiding this a2, queen e4, queen e3 because he saw that option. Wait, now bishop to b2 is coming. This is just game over. I mean, there's no more hope here. And now a2 is super winning.
We're just seconds away from Ding becoming the world champion. If he just plays the next few accurate moves, it's all over.
Just
This
one
is-
move, a2, and it's over.
And it's on the board. It's over. Ding Liren is the world chess champion.
Because of miracle after miracle, Ding Liren is our beloved world champion today. Ding Liren's story is one worth sharing, not only because of the fact that fate bended in his favor, but because no matter how desperate his situation seemed, he always came out on top.
Ding Liren was looking to meet the criteria to be the replacement for Sergei Karyakin.
Yeah, this is winning. Ding is going to be the new world champion. Yeah, Ding is going to win here.
He has made history as the first Chinese player to win the world championship. We see handshakes that Ding is overtaken by emotions. He isn't able to leave the board, and for Ian Nepomniachtchi, a heartbreaking moment there. He leaves the hall. This has been a fight of courage, of grit and determination, and all of that has paid off for Ding Liren. Take a moment and admire Ding right now.